What's up, guys? On today's Photographic Therapy podcast episode, we have actually one of my favorite photographers in the city, someone that I actually learned from. He's part of an incredible collective here in Houston that specialized in some of the street urban exploring scene here in Houston, some of the cityscapes, rooftops, and really cool abandoned places. Daniel Fernandez, who is now also a professional commercial photographer that specializes in lighting, portraits, events, and all types of work. So stay tuned. We're going to talk about his journey, how he got started, and of course we're also going to talk about his new book, Urban Mosaics, that is also available on his website as we are speaking. And so tune in. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And shout out to Rode and to Fujifilm for sponsoring this episode. Man, today we got a really awesome guest, and he's actually one of our very own, one of the people that I actually look up to. He's part of a really cool collective here in Houston photography, in the Houston street scene, urban scene. Also too, he takes incredible portraits. But, when I came out to the scene and I was in downtown shooting every night, I remember I thought it was so cool. My Sony A6000. I think you had that camera too, right?
I had it for a little bit,
yeah. I thought it was so cool, man, with my little Pro Master backpack walking around in downtown and didn't know what the heck I was doing. But I was just inspired by everyone's photos, like your photos, Jay Buns, Jafet, Emphy's, Philip Photography. And I was like, man, these guys are like the coolest people in Houston, to me. I'm like, and I still think you are. And then it's really cool, and we'll get a little bit about that later, but how you ended up here at the Houston Camera Exchange. But man, today I want to welcome a good friend of mine and an amazing co-worker. I hate to see you say that word. I'm just like to say teammate, man. You're an awesome teammate.
You don't like co-worker?
I don't know. It sounds too formal. Like, I consider you my friend. You know what I mean? But we have Daniel Fernandez here with us. Daniel, you want to introduce yourself a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, man. First of all, thank you for having me, man. It's honestly a pleasure to be here. I don't really get to do this often, so if it's a little chance to like talk a little bit about myself.
First of many.
Let's see. Yeah. It's been an interesting week. Houston Voyage is also doing an interview on me. It should be
that's dope.
Coming out live soon. So it's been an interesting last 2 weeks.
Man, I'm excited, and we're going to talk about some couple things. Obviously, we want to get to know who you are. I want to get to know even more of your journey, and then also, too, of your upcoming projects that you got going on. But, man, so you got this thing going on with Voyage this week. I'm really excited about that. And if you guys don't know where Daniel is, we are here located here at the Houston Camera Exchange. So he's an incredible resource for our team. And I'm always going to talk up my people, because one thing I love about Daniel is that he's always just down, man. He's one guy that's just down. Like, if you're down to explore, if you're down to clean up, if you're down to, he's just an incredible teammate and an incredible friend. And I really appreciate that about you, Daniel. Your actions speak louder than words, man.
Appreciate it, man. I don't like not doing anything.
Yeah.
When I'm not doing anything, it's basically time that I get to think. And sometimes it's a little bit dark in my head, so I'd rather just do things to like not.
No, I feel you. So you speaking on in terms of photography, like, give us a little bit about your background. Where you from? Where you grew up and stuff like that.
Yeah, man. So I'm originally from Cuba. I moved to the U.S. when I was 15, and pretty much it was like a starting over type of thing, because I had ideas of what I wanted to be when I was in Cuba. I was really into a computer engineer.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And when I got over here, it was more like, is that really a good career to pursue in the U.S.? Like, you can do anything, and so like I was like, I don't really know what to do. So I was kind of in a limbo for a couple of years.
Yeah.
But thankfully, my photography teacher in high school, she kind of like pushed me a little bit more to pursue photography, and that's pretty much how it got started.
That's how you got started in high school. That's really cool, man. I actually, in high school, I got into auto mechanics, auto body, and computer.
Nice.
Engineering, and I took a little bit of mechanical engineering as well too. But I was like, dude, I don't want to be a mechanical engineer. It's too much freaking math, man.
I like
Like,
math
I only
actually.
want to count my money and my girlfriends. No, I'm kidding.
Bro,
I didn't have that many girlfriends.
the only subject that I was really good at in school was math.
Really?
Like I was really good in math, physics, chemistry. I was good in the math side.
Man, I hated chemistry, and mechanical engineering was intense math. And I was like, man, maybe I should become an architecture. But that's really cool. How long have you been shooting? Get into the photography now?
So it's been 11 years now. I started in 2013. That's when I took my first class in high school. I was a junior then. Basically, how it all started is because I needed a credit to be able to graduate, an art credit to be
Oh,
able.
okay.
And my dean was like, "Hey, we have these options. Would you like to take photography?" And I was like, "You know what? I know the photography teacher is cool, so that was gonna be an easy A." And I just ran with it.
When getting into photography, it's really cool. I think to be able to. I wish I would have gotten into a long time ago. I've only been shooting. This is my ongoing 6 year.
Okay.
You know, but one of the things that I love shooting is street photography. I know that's like not a lot of people. They see your work, they hire you professionally, but like if like they know like you one of the OGs. I consider you one of the OGs. And how did you get into that street scene? Like, what inspired that?
Man, I wanted to learn,
Yeah,
and there is really nothing else to learn. You have to get out there, and street was pretty much available for you 100% of the time, anytime that you had available.
yeah,
So,
same way. I felt the same way.
so yeah, I mean, that's basically, I use street photography to learn how to use my camera, how to, do photography. So I was just basically, like you said earlier, practicing every single day, every night, and we're just basically out there just practicing, practicing, practicing.
So someone that's getting started in photography, you think, and they don't have like, man, because I got my camera, I remember, and I was like, okay, so what do I shoot now? You know what I mean? Like, there's no car meets because I was into cars. Man, I was trying to practice on my brother and my cousins, and they're like, "Nah, man, don't take pictures of us, fool." You know what I mean? They get all shy, camera shy, but like they pretend, and then they're like later, "Hey, you take a picture of me." You know what I
They
mean?
like it. They
Yeah,
like
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Yeah. So
But yeah, what like street photography? It's available,
right
right? And it's available at all times, and that's how I kind of ran into you guys in a way.
in the city, yeah, doing
Yeah.
meetups and whatnot. Yeah.
So you think like what do you think of my question is like what advantage do you have learning street photography and
And
especially applying it to like how did that teach you to what you're doing now?
so advantage of street photography, the main thing that I see is that you can redo the same shot over and over. A lot of times we go out, we take some photos, and we're like, yeah, we happy with this, and we move on, we take different photos. But the way I see my photos, like I know this could be better.
Yeah.
So like I would go out again, and I would try to do it again, and I would do it again until I was actually really happy with the photos. So like in street photography, the main thing is like it gives you the ability to continually practice and practice and make those photos better. Where you're working with a client, you don't really get a redo.
Yeah.
You have to be ready for that, and street photography kind of got you ready for that. Like there's a lot of moments that you have like seconds to capture. So like street photography kind of
Right.
got you ready to always be like aware of everything that's happening around you, so you can be ready for those photos. So yeah, street photography very much kind of like leads you to everything else because you have to be in the moment, you have to be aware of everything, and that's photography.
I know one of the things that you say like I don't like to miss shots.
I don't, man. When I'm one thing that I love about me is that when I'm doing a wedding, I finish my gig, my clients tell me like you did a good job because they see that I'm actually working. Like I'm not putting my camera down, I'm keeping my camera on my eyes. I'm just basically like this at all times.
Yeah, that's one thing I noticed though. You do not want to miss a moment.
No, man.
You
Like
know? Even when you're taking a break, you're just like, hey, let's say you're just cooling or whatever, chilling with Opa. Opa's the coolest dog in the world, by the way. And then you just like, you bring your camera up, catches you, you're having a conversation. It's just like, you don't miss a shot. Dude.
you don't want to, man, because I've missed too many shots where I'm like, damn, I wish I should have taken that.
Yeah,
like,
I feel you.
Now it's like I spend like a whole week on my head. I'm like, damn, that photo would have.
Or even driving by and like, oh man, I should have stopped by and I didn't. And then you go back and it's like, especially because I'm into like graffiti and different things, you have very, very similar tastes as well too. But man, the street scene now, of course, a lot of you guys were doing, you know, the downtown stuff, the classic street stuff, the cool cityscapes, but you also started like you and Infi started getting into this realm of the abandoned world and exploring like urban exploring, like the what we call bandos. They're basically abandoned places. That you and one of the things, the way I can describe that photography is how you guys something so abandoned and you know, something so destroyed, you guys made that, you brought it back to life through a photo.
Yeah.
Like, and when you, I know, like a couple weeks ago, you asked me if I can print one of your photos. When I printed that photo, like I got it right, I got the file, but when I put it on paper, I was like, wow,
That's one of my favorite photos.
yeah, incredible.
And that's basically where I really started, like on abandoned locations. And Infi has a big, you know, how do I say it? It has a big words not coming out to my head. He was a big influence on you know making actually this happen. I met him after I actually started on the abandoned buildings.
Yeah.
We had some friends in commons. His friend saw my photo. Actually, Brittany.
Shout out to Infi, man, OG,
Yeah,
man.
big
Yeah.
man. But you know Brittany as well.
Yeah, I know Brittany
So
Feliciano. Yeah, man.
she, we were in class together, and she was seeing like the photos that I was going through, and she was like, "I've seen that place before. My friends been there." I'm like, "Who are your friends?" And like, she
okay.
like put me on with Infi and like a few other people from the community. And Infi was a man, like it was gold, bro. Like he took me to a lot of places. Most of the like the abandoned locations that I've seen, it's honestly, you know,
I feel like every time, like, yeah, you know, and Infi told me, it was like, he told me the same thing about you. The one guy that was always down to go explore was Daniel Fernandez.
yeah, man.
Cuban.
He would tell me like, "Bro, let's go somewhere this weekend." I'm like, let's go. You know?
Yeah, I know. Man, what's your approach on that? Like I know, and I think that's really cool. Like I didn't really get to travel a lot in my childhood, but I feel like photography, it's like it allows me to like want to travel even more.
Yeah.
What's your take on that?
And I've had the pleasure to do a little bit of traveling, like through the years that I've been photographing, and it's a wonderful feeling, man. Main thing is just you get to see something new, you know. But what I really like is that you come back to your city and you see your city differently, you know, because it's once you've been shooting the same like street for a whole month, everything kind of starts, you know, looking monotonous.
Yeah.
But once you go out and then you come
It
back,
becomes a little cliche, a little
Right.
repetitive. Like, you know, I remember hearing Hidalgo say you can only shoot a rooftops 4 corners in so many different ways. You know what I mean? And until you get tired of it
Yeah.
to an extent, in a way.
But I've kind of in a way, since I've been shooting for so long, I feel like I've shot every corner of downtown.
Yeah.
I've been taking a different approach to
Yeah.
like to shooting, and yes, you technically only have 4 corners to photograph, but you can get close.
Yeah.
And now you have a lot of different photos. So
That's one of the things that I respect about you and Dominique Doms Carter is that you know it's unfortunate. A lot of people that were shooting so much in downtown, they've stopped shooting. But you, Doms Carter, like you guys are not only consistently shooting for clients and you know you guys your own business, but you're constantly always creating work. What can you like let us know like what inspires that, man, you know? And also too like what are some of the things that, you know, you can motivate us to do that because sometimes what happens, people can get in a little rut. I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about that on how you know, overcame some of that stuff that you're like you didn't feel like you wanted to shoot anymore and stuff like that.
that's actually a really good question. And there's a guy that I met. I think you met him, Tyler James.
Oh, yeah.
And he was also a big influence for a really hard times that I went through my photography because I was like, you know, I like you said, I photograph everything. Like I didn't have an idea how do I photograph this differently, you know. And back then I was always thinking about like I need to take this amazing shot. Like if it's not an amazing shot, I'm not even gonna pull out my camera, you know. But I had a conversation with him one night.
Shout out to the DA50.
Yeah, no, that's the one. I had a conversation with him one night. We went on a trip to Marfa with Dom, Jeff, and Tyler. And one night we were outside talking, and he opened up to me. You know, I opened up to him. We had a pretty good conversation that night, and he basically told me like, bro, stop looking for that best photo. Like that perfect photo doesn't exist. You know, like just shoot everything.
Yeah, that's a good approach.
You know, everything.
Yeah.
And the main thing is like it doesn't have to be anything. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you don't have to do anything with that photo.
Yeah, it could just be something that captures your eye
Yeah.
and like document it. And I think out of that, sometimes you can create something, or you look back at it like a couple weeks and be like, that photo wasn't nothing. But now you look at it like, you know what? Maybe I could start like a body of work here or a series.
Yeah, man.
You know, because you've traveled, you've shot a lot, man. You know, in the street urban scene, also too in the professional realm, and you know, I know one of the things that you like to do is also to be able to create, you know, put that body of work in people intangible, like books and print. And what's your approach on that?
Yeah, man. Tyler was also a big influence on that. I bought one of his magazines scenes when he dropped it a couple years ago, and I fell in love with it, man.
Yeah.
I actually looking at, like, I've seen all those photos on his Instagram, on his Twitter, but actually seeing that book in my hands, it just felt different. You know?
Yeah, there's nothing like having, and like I told you, when I printed your photo that you asked me to print, or when I print some of my photos, taking photos of just everything, documenting things that I didn't even think, and then I print it just for the heck of it. I learned so much. I'm like, oh, you know what? I think I could have taken this photo a little bit better if I moved here, or maybe if I would have focused on the subject a little bit closer, a little bit further. So the idea of printing is, of course, the end goal is to, you know, hopefully it can end up on somebody's wall,
Right.
or somebody, and physically someone gets your book or your zine, or, you know, whatever it is. Maybe someone decides to buy your photo. I'm like, hey, we want your photo, we want to put it on a T-shirt, and it becomes tangible, you know, at that point. But I think the most important thing is that you can learn so much from printing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not only learn, but the way I see it is that it's my way of bringing my work to actual life.
Yeah.
You know, I think you and I had a conversation about this long time ago, where that's how 35 millimeter was. You know?
Yeah.
Like you would shoot your roll, and it wouldn't actually bring to life until you actually had.
There was no Instagram. There
Right.
was no websites. There was no internet. So, you know,
without that print, there was no actual work.
Exactly.
To life. So this is me just doing a little more than just showcasing my work on Instagram.
I think with shooting with that mentality, that's my favorite type of mentality. Like, a photograph wasn't finished back in the day until they developed that negative. You know, they didn't scan it. They went into a dark room and they were able to create that print.
Yeah.
And you know, a lot of press photography was that way. A lot of artists, and that was just the way I think. And I think that's kind of, in a way, I'm kind of seeing a resurgence. Obviously, a resurgence of film. You know, the resurgence of film. You shoot film yourself.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, you know, you've kind of mixed that into your workflow as well too. And then, of course, one thing about Daniel always has cool gear, man, and he always got one camera at least on him, whether if it's a Ricoh or a film camera. He's just ready to take a photo, man. He is not gonna miss out on a photo. But the cool thing, you know, going back to the tangible part, is in the resurgence of film. It's really cool to have that mentality in photography, to really go in and basically, hey, my work belongs beyond social media.
Yep.
You know, whether even if it's just for you, I think it's really important for you to print. So with that being said, you're working on a new book.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's
Yeah.
it called?
Urban mosaics.
Okay. And this is a body of work of.
Pretty much cityscapes. I wouldn't necessarily call it street photography. I would say it's more of cityscapes, architecture, of pretty much most of the cities that I've been to.
Yeah.
And I did a kind of like a little collection of my best, what I thought was my best photos up to date. And
Yeah. Killer book, by the way.
Yeah, man,
Yeah.
super excited about that. I have a few things coming up. I'm actually gonna start putting the photos on shirts as well.
Okay. Dope.
So yeah, I'm gonna try to take this one a little bit to the
I
next
think you
level.
should, man. You deserve it. I mean, people need to know who you are. And, you know, if you know, obviously, if we can figure something out, I think we should even carry the book here in our shop and stuff like that. If we can do something like that, but you know, man, I saw this book, Urban Mosaics.
Mosaics.
I'm sorry,
No,
sorry
you're
guys. Listen, you got two Latinos behind doing a podcast, and we're gonna have an accent, okay?
Yeah.
Okay. But but it's a collective of some of your favorite, some of your best works. Yeah, you think so? This is gonna become available. Are you launching this on your website or anything like that, or Instagram?
I launched it on my website. I just put it up there.
Okay.
Now I haven't really actually done any marketing for it.
But it is available to purchase at this moment.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
available to purchase on my website, onecuban.com. And I'm basically just pushing it out on Twitter and on Instagram. I've been doing a little bit of like Twitter for the past 2 years.
Okay.
Getting myself involved with the photography community on Twitter.
And that's oneqban.com, right?
Yeah,
That's also your Twitter handle and all,
everywhere.
everywhere in the world.
Literally,
Yeah.
you Google one Cuban and you get Facebook,
Yeah.
Instagram, Twitter, Tumblr,
Shots of bandos, rooftops, all types of cool stuff.
Yeah, no, I haven't done that like in a while, but it actually felt nice once. Like I googled one Cuban and I went to images and
Yeah.
like all my photos popped up. And I'm like, that's nice.
Tell me, Daniel, tell me a little bit about the Twitter community. Why are you so active there? And
Man.
why do you think we should be on there?
Why? Do you remember what Instagram used to be in like 2015, 2016, 2017?
And its greatness, right?
Right. Every photographer trying to help each other, learn from each other.
Yeah.
Very super positive vibe. Everybody
Cool
trying,
online community.
So that's what Twitter is for me. Like a lot of people have this mentality that Twitter is toxic. You create your feed.
Yeah, exactly, for sure. It depends on who you're following and what community you're involved in.
Right. So like I'm basically involved in that photographic community on Twitter. I've been doing a lot of crypto art. So that's basically where most of the crypto art
The
moves.
NFT stuff.
The NFTs.
Okay.
And, that moves mainly in Twitter. So that's basically where I've been able to meet a lot of photographers. And honestly, what really got me like hooked into this is because there was photographers that I've been looking up to for many years, like Bon Wong,
Okay.
Eric Perret. Like these people were like legends to me. And
Okay.
through Twitter, I was just having conversations with them, like they were my friend. And I was like I never thought that I would be able to have a conversation with this guy. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's like, yeah, bro, what's up?
Yeah, some people, most people, they're pretty inviting. And they're like, yeah, man, I'm human just like you are. You know what I mean? That's how I felt when I met Steven Vanesco in Los Angeles. I was really so amazed that I was able to chill with him for like 20, 30 minutes there at the Pasadena. I think it was somebody's birthday, but it was a car club meeting. You know what I mean? And it's really cool to have that. I've heard of Steven Vanesco and some of the NFT community talks and different talks like that. And I think, that's really, you kind of see, I think Instagram's kind of trying to do the same thing, right? It's like a community thing or whatever
They tried.
They're trying, but it's not really the same thing as Spaces and that stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
it's really more involved on Twitter. Yeah,
it's a completely different type of platform. So,
right.
I mean, the people that use Twitter are completely different to Instagram. And to like fully answer your question, why do I think that somebody needs to be in Twitter? Because in Twitter, people are being themselves.
Yeah,
you can actually get to interact and get to know the people, one on one. On Instagram, in a way, everybody's putting up a show.
What's that saying? Twitter gave us a voice. Yeah,
It's there.
I think we already had a voice, but it just really, took it to a whole different level worldwide.
Right. And if you think about it, a lot of the people that like big names on Instagram, they've been doing it for a long time.
Right.
They have hundreds of thousands of followers. So like, it's not that they don't want to engage with you. They're not seeing your comment. They're not seeing your message. On Twitter, it's not that. So like, I feel like you can actually have one-on-one conversation with people and like not feel like you're talking to this big legend or somebody not necessarily acting like they're some big name. I don't know. I like Twitter, honestly.
Well, one of the things, and I know I gotta ask you this question. We just have to. I should probably ask you at the beginning, but I don't even know how you're gonna answer this question. But your tool of choice. Like, if you had to live with one camera, one lens for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Oh man,
I know that's gonna be really hard for you.
Yeah,
you really love. So look, guys, you gotta understand something about Daniel. Daniel and I, we share a common interest. We love cameras, and we like to learn about different cameras.
That's honestly a difficult question because the past year I would have been able to answer that very quick.
Okay.
But since I've been working here in this Houston Camera Exchange, I've gotten to learn and touch a lot of more cameras.
Yeah.
So like every camera is a different tool. Every camera works differently. So like that's a very difficult question.
Yeah, when you see, I can tell when you have there's a camera that interests you, your eyes light up, and I'm just like, what is this? And you just and I'm the same way because I'm like, what is this? When was this made? I want to know. I'm a big history buff. That actually was my favorite subject growing up, and I was like, I want to learn the history of these things because I think it's so important to study history, and also to going back and study the past because there's so much more that you can learn about photography doing that.
Bro, photography, that's honestly the reason why I decided to come into this field. Photography is huge. Like it's insane the amount of like little roads that you can take or like things that you can learn, and there is really always something gonna be out there for you to learn. So like if you have the interest, it's like you are always gonna have something to study, something to learn. So like that's the beauty about photography.
Right now, you work at Houston Community College as well too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you also focus. You're an incredible studio and light photographer, right? It's like the correct words. Like, I'm sorry, you use a lot of strobes as well too. You know how to.
I mean,
You're an incredible resource here in our store for that. I'm really glad you came on board. But how did you get into that realm of photography? Like, you went from urban, street, bando, hanging on cranes, to,
how did I get into that?
to that realm.
So I started doing portraits
Okay.
in the city. That was one of the things that I was doing to practice. Like I said earlier, I like to learn. So like when I took some photos of people, and the first times that I took photos of people, and I noticed that they weren't good, I was like, I need to get better at this.
Okay.
So I just started.
It was a challenge.
Yeah.
You like the challenge.
I give myself challenges so
Yeah.
I can overcome, and I can say, yeah, I know how to do this.
Yeah.
So I just started taking photo of people, like collaborating with models in the city, and slowly I started making my name not only on the urban and street. I started making my name on the portrait side of the community,
Right.
and I started getting inquiries to get hired, like to get people to take photos of them, and I was like, maybe I should really learn this. And at the moment, I was taking classes in Houston Community College. I was doing my basics of photography, basically trying to get my degree on digital communications,
Okay.
which I didn't finish, but that's where I really started learning like strobes. The photography program in Houston Community College is honestly amazing.
You think you would definitely recommend it for someone that wants to definitely learn in that realm?
100%.
Yeah, for sure.
I spent 2 years.
I've been thinking about even like signing up and just taking like
should.
a few semesters to learn that.
You should. You don't need to do the whole full on classes. You know what I mean? I did photography in high school, and I went on 2 years without like really knowing like what I'm doing.
Right.
Like I was just basically pointing and shooting.
That's how I felt when I was shooting with Sony the first year. No, don't disrespect to Sony.
You know how
It was just easy to shoot.
you know how I was bringing my exposure up and down
Yeah.
with my ISO.
Oh my god. Yeah. Yeah.
No, so
it was a journey though. You know what I mean?
right.
It's part of. We're just we didn't know any better. That's why I'm so grateful for you guys. When I came around you guys, I was like, hey, let me show you how to do a long exposure. Hey, let me show you how to shoot in manual. So that's what one of the things that I'm so grateful with you and Infi and Hidalgo and all the people that were part of the crew. Like when you saw someone downtown that was hungry, you guys kind of like embraced them, and that was awesome, man.
Yeah, I mean, it was more about like if the person really wanted to learn,
Right.
Because I've in the many years that I've been doing photography, like everybody wants to learn, but like not everybody actually have what it takes to like go out and learn.
Yeah.
Like once we see like those people that really have that hunger to like get out, like yeah, bro, let's put you up, like let's teach you the right way, like this is how you frame your stuff, this is how you're supposed to like expose your images, and it's mainly not because we are trying to like be better. It's just mainly like we're trying to get people to
No, you guys have a sense of community, and that's what I loved about what you guys did all the time. And you're an incredible resource here too. You always recommend people like, I don't know, I think you should really take a class like Houston Community College if you can.
We actually had a couple clients here in the store that have taken the classes.
Oh yeah.
And I haven't spoken with them because I haven't seen them, but the professor has told me like they're doing very well.
Yeah.
So like, if you somebody's really trying to learn, man, honestly,
When
taking
when
classes
it comes
is
to
worth it.
lighting, it's very tricky. There's so much to learn there. I
Yeah.
was very intimidated. I only know how to shoot with the speed light, but these last 2 years, I have learned so much, even with the podcast and being on sets with Tony for music videos and continuous light versus strobe. There's so much to it. It's crazy, you know what I mean? And I think that you're right. It's if you really want to learn, um, if you can't take a class at Houston Community College, at least get around somebody that can mentor you, and that's willing to mentor you. See if maybe you can put some money in their pockets as well too for their time, because their time is valuable. If you can, if someone, that's why I'm so grateful for like people like my friends, like for example, like Heido Chacon. He took me on my first wedding. He was like, "Yo, I want to learn how to shoot a wedding." He was like, "Cool, come on." He took me on my first two weddings, and I remember that piece of advice. He was like, "Mikey, the same way you shoot street photography, those candids, that's what I want you to do today." And I didn't know, like he gave me this task, and then when I delivered the photos, he gave me my feedback. Hey, these are good. These right here. Hey, you shot a lot of photos. Next time, let's try to be more intentional. Try to see the shot before it comes. Try to take less shots. I know you don't. You like nah. I'm not missing any shots. Everyone has a different approach to that, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, I'm not missing any shots, but
spraying.
I'm not spraying.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. So like, I'm not missing any shots, but
Trigger happy.
I'm max taking 3 photos of
Yeah.
like whatever moment. If one of those come out right, happy. If none, then yeah, those
Yeah,
are
I see
three.
your work, bro. You're intense, man. Like, hey, hold on. Wait,
You
wait,
you
wait.
have to be like that, bro, because that's what kind of separates you from the rest of the people. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like if you are like really putting your heart out there and like putting your full self, like that will separate you from all the people. You know what I mean? And this is a very words not coming out to my head. This is a very congested industry. You
Oh
know,
yeah, it's become very saturated, right?
right? Very saturated. That's the
Yeah,
word I was
because
looking
everybody
for.
wants to be a photographer, and everybody has a camera in their hands.
It's very
Yeah.
easy to get a camera. I mean, like nowadays, like compared to what it was many years ago, anybody can really get a credit card and get a really amazing camera
Right.
for under $1,000. You know what I mean? So like, this market is very saturated. What are we doing to like
But
stay, and be different from the rest? And that's what clients want to see. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing, like I said earlier, there's nothing better than hiring somebody and like seeing that they did a good job.
right,
Like, imagine you hire somebody and like you do your whole wedding and you see the guy just like hanging out, like like you don't feel like you got your money worth. You know what I mean?
right.
I'd like to give people their money worth.
No, I know man. You do not settle for less. You guys need to hire a Cuban man for anything events. Check him out on his website. Man, I honestly, I think you and I we could talk about photography forever, bro. I want to do like a second episode. My ideas, not to spoil the beans out there. I think we're gonna do a little panel next.
Okay.
And I think me, you, and a couple other photographers. We'll do it outside of the our cool little podcast room here where we can only fit two people. But man, with just closing thoughts and stuff like that. If we can find your work at
One Cuban
One Cuban,
everywhere.
and then you have the book coming out, and it's already out as available to purchase and stuff like that. You got limited copies, or you have a
So I am doing 100.
okay,
100. I'm doing it by batches.
Okay.
So I don't want to just print 100 books and just be sitting like that happened with my previous book. So I'm kind of taking little steps. I'm doing
yeah.
it.
I go buy his book, man. I'm gonna cop one myself, and it's a really good book. You're gonna learn a lot about Cuban's work and how important he is here to our city, man. So yeah,
I mean, with my book, I feel like you can really study like how I do my compositions. I feel like it could be a very good point of reference on like how to frame your work. Now, you don't want to like do it the same way I do, but you can take little points. Like
right.
how I have my entire image frame. I feel like the way I choose to frame my images is everything that needs to work together.
But
You know?
what's that saying? You steal until you develop your own style.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, I honestly don't feel like I have my own style.
Yeah.
Because in the past two
It's ever
years,
growing.
yeah, you
Yeah.
as you're learning, as you're growing, you are gonna change. You're gonna do something else. You're
Right.
gonna move on and deviate from like what you were doing before. But it's all about just having fun, man.
Yeah, it is.
As long as you're having fun with your work,
That
it don't matter.
that's the most important thing I think when it comes down to photography. Whether if you're doing it for yourself, I know people got to pay bills and stuff like that,
Right.
but don't forget to like. This is why we have this photographic therapy because for us, photography is very therapeutic. For me, I love getting out there on a sunrise or a golden hour. Or I like going into my neighborhood, and it's just always therapeutic for me to connect with somebody and be able to take a photo. For you, I know you have your own business, but you also have your morning walks that you still do, right? With I know it's been blazing hot lately.
Yeah, no,
but
summer have honestly slowed down quite a lot of the shooting because
Yeah.
it's just insane.
we're praying
to
for
be out.
good weather, man. We're ready for those morning walks again,
But
Yeah.
I'm walking my dog at like 8 a.m. in the morning and I'm sweating.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like,
Dude, it's like 90 degrees at 9 o'clock, bro. It's ridiculous. Yeah,
um,
it's a ruthless summer.
once summer is done, I'll probably get back to those morning walks.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it's all about exercising, practicing. You know what I mean? Never feeling like you got the shot.
Right.
That's my
If you can leave us one last piece of advice before we close out, what would it be?
practice and never be never be fully happy, never be content.
Okay.
Because their photos can always be better. You know what I mean? No matter how good you are, no matter how good the photo is, it can always be better. You know what I mean? That's why I always go back the next day and the next week and try to do a little better. But if I were to like close it down, I would just give an advice to the younger photographers, the people that are getting into the industry. If you really want to do this is not an easy career.
Right.
Like, yes, it's easy grabbing the camera and pointing and taking photos. That's easy. But like actually continuing, that's not easy, And if you really want to learn, just practice, man.
Yeah.
Like go out and shoot. I see the main mistake I see is that a lot of people want to come out the gate charging people for money.
Oh yeah.
Like, you know how many shoots I did for free, bro?
Yeah. Well, also too, what happens with that on another note is that people see you take a photo and be like, "Hey, bro, I'll hire you," and then you take it without knowing like, "Yo, I need to actually gain a lot of experience to
Yeah.
deliver his photos." Like, God forgive me for my first weddings.
Same, same. I feel bad. I feel bad for
Yeah.
my first two weddings. I feel really bad with my client.
I actually didn't do too bad of the job, but it's like even with a body of work, like when I went to Los Angeles 2021, and I'm working on this body of work on this book that I'm trying to work on. I'm like, yeah, I would have shot it completely different.
Right.
What I in my mistake here in 2024 than I went there, because I've grown so much.
Right.
My eye, my technical experience, and all that cool stuff.
That's why you just have
Yeah.
to keep practicing, man.
Yeah.
Keep shooting. Have that archive of millions of photos. There was one thing that it was said to me in school when I was starting, and I said that your first 10,000 photos are gonna be your worst.
Oh yeah, I've heard that saying before too.
So like
Shoot, my first like 20,000 probably. Yeah.
bring it up to 100.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like you just have to shoot, because between those 10,000 photos there will be one that's gonna be like, damn.
Man,
This is it.
I know we're about to close out, but is there anybody like that you love studying their work? Anybody that inspires you in the photography community, whether if they're modern or someone in the past?
Bong Wong.
Okay.
Bong Wong, man. He was introduced to me by my high school teacher. This was back in like when I was a junior, like one of the first photographers that I was actually introduced for me. He's not in Houston. He's not from the community, but what called out to me was his work was insanely good.
What does he focus on?
He does realism.
Oh, okay.
Off-camera flash, everything on camera. That's what I was like, damn.
Yeah.
Like this is on camera?
Yeah.
Like no, that's crazy. So like the guy, what he focuses on is like he does like these masterpieces that they are telling a story, and they are
Okay.
bringing awareness to like things that are happening around the world. The latest project that he's working on, he was grabbing plastic. Like he went to Africa and he was just collecting plastic, like getting a bunch of community, getting all like cleaning the oceans, cleaning the streets, and he would make.
Man, that's dope.
Yeah, but what's even more dope is like he would make an actual sculpture with the plastic. So like the piece of art that he makes is just like, damn.
It's out of nothing.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
out of nothing. Like there was one that he made like a mermaid, and like basically the girl was in the laying down, and she was all around like plastic water bottles. Where if you look at the photo, it just looks like a mermaid laying down like corals. But once you zoom in, you see like it's just a bunch of plastic. It's like,
Wow.
damn. So like there was one that he did in a volcano. Like he actually went to the volcano as it was erupting, and he did some photos.
That's
of it.
insane.
So like you see his photos and you're like, damn, I want to do that.
Yeah.
So he'll be my guy.
That's your biggest inspo.
Yeah.
Man, we're definitely gonna have to check him out, man. But man, Daniel, thanks for being a part of us. I think we need to do part 2, man. I honestly feel like you and I and Bernie, we get on this mic, and like I was always really afraid to like be in front of the camera, but we just really like talking about photography, and that's why we kind of do it and stuff like that.
Yeah, man.
But man, check Cuban's work at 1QBAN everywhere in the world. And if you are here in the store throughout midweek, Daniel's here also, an incredible resource. Come by here. We're located here at 5900 Richmond Avenue. Peace.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and come visit us at the Houston Camera Exchange, 5900 Richmond Avenue.